Alright guys, welcome back to the Armed Citizens Evolution channel. And now on this channel, we talk about being responsible armed citizens, being proficient shooters, guns, and other topics. I'm Davis, and on today's topic, we'll be talking about the Staccato C2 and whether I believe the hype on it is worth it, part 2. Now before we get into it, I'm going to roll a little video and I'll be right back with you guys. That's a 147. All right, guys, so we're going to be talking about 4 key points today. It's going to be accuracy, trigger, recoil management, and manual safeties. Now, as you guys just saw, that was a 100-yard shot in under 2 seconds, or 1.47. This gun is going to be as accurate as you need it to be. Now, what that implies is that if you suck at shooting, you're going to suck with this gun, regardless of how much this gun costs or what you think it's supposed to do for you. Accuracy on these guns are phenomenal. If you are missing at 25 yards at a 1-inch pacer with unlimited time, it's just you. It's not the gun. There's nothing wrong with the gun. It's just your trigger control. It's how you're gripping the gun. You're probably inducing some shake into it, and it's fine. But stop blaming the gun for your inaccuracy. Any distance within 100 yards with a proficient shooter, they're going to be able to pull off the shots they need to, given the allotted time. Now, if you're one of the people that believes these guns are inaccurate, I'm going to stop you right now. Do not comment. You can make a clown out of yourself. Go get training, come back, then we can talk about it. But if you are arguing that these guns are inaccurate in any capacity, please stop talking. You know nothing about guns, you know nothing about shooting. Go get training, and I'll see you back. All right, so moving on, guys. So what makes the Staccatos or 2011s, 1911s ideal is the trigger. Now, people that don't like SAO triggers, and SAO means single action only triggers, are people that don't like tomahawk stakes as well. If you don't like a single action only trigger, I don't know what's wrong with you. You might be on the spectrum. Now, people are going to argue against triggers with such a short reset and such a short prep. Those people usually don't know how to shoot and are afraid of having a negligent discharge because they're not proficient shooters. And I get it. You might not feel comfortable carrying this gun, and that's fine. I understand that you don't have the capacity to carry this gun or don't feel adequate enough to carry it. That's fine. That's a valid reason why you wouldn't carry this gun. If you feel safer carrying a double action, single action gun for that initial 11-pound pull, by all means do so. But the reason people buy these guns is for that trigger. The 1911 style trigger is phenomenal. If it's not the best in the world, it's got to be number 2. I don't know what other gun you can compare this type of trigger to. And these guns do come around the 4.5-pound trigger pull. I don't have a gauge with me right now, or I had to demonstrate that. But I'm going off based on what Staccato's saying, and I believe that's a reputable brand, so I'm going to trust what they're saying on their website. Now, at 4.5 pounds, that's exactly what I would feel is comfortable for an ADC/duty gun. Now, some people might say that's a little too heavy. Some people are going to argue that's a little too light, and I understand both sides of the argument. For me, it's right exactly where I would like to have. It's a Glock, I believe it's like a 5.5. So this is right underneath that, and I find that this is just crisp, reliable break on these guns. Now, if you guys can see, I'm going to demonstrate a build drill. So if you guys can tell, that was a 199. All right, so you guys just saw that was a build drill at 7 yards. I apologize for the autofocus focusing on me. That's why I had a secondary camera. It's a 199. If you guys can see my splits, I had 2 that were 16. That's what the trigger affords me. That's why I like these guns. Now, moving along to the recoil management. Now I'm going to show you guys some recoil management on my Staccato C2. Now this one has the Ignis ports on it. I just wanted to demonstrate what you're going to be visually seeing as you do a build drill. Now, this is just for demonstration purposes. Try to see how the only thing really rocking back and forth is the slide. Yes, there's a slight little rise, but that's natural. If you were seeing a person, you might not even be able to tell that the slide is reciprocating that fast. Now on video, it's going to be a little bit more noticeable, but really, I'm literally just seeing my dot rise up, out, exit, and come right back in. Now, the one thing that these guns have from the factory that I personally don't like is the grip texture. I feel like it could be more aggressive. That's just a personal opinion. I know some people don't like the aggressive texture because it shapes them as the EDC, and I get that, I understand that. I do like the M&P 2.0's aggressive texture, and that's what I'm used to. I like that aggressive bite in my hand. I just like over tightening with my left hand, and that's just the way I perform stuff. I know some people have a more relaxed grip and can still do build drills. So that's not necessarily a must-have, it's just a personal preference. But I do feel that it helps me mitigate recoil a little better when I have an aggressive texture. So now moving on to the manual safeties. So now this is where I feel we're gonna have a big disagreement between EDC carriers, tactical practitioners, and competition shooters. If you're pinning the safety on a 2011 style of gun, you're doing it wrong. And I don't care who advocates for it. It could be your favorite gun tuber, your favorite competition shooter, whoever it is, the best tactician in the world. While you guys advocate for pinning the safety and cue the autistic screech, well, we pin it because in a life or death scenario, we're not gonna have to worry about it. But you have to worry about a thumb safety. So that's a moot point. You guys stop defeating the grip safeties. They're designed there for a reason. If you're trying to find a workaround on the grip, that gun might not fit you. You might need to find a better gun that fits you and the way you perform stuff. That's just my opinion. I like having the safeties that were designed on this gun to be functional. But do what you want. My staccatos are two different. I have one has magwell, one does not. The one with the magwell, I don't have as positive as a contact with the grip safety, but it's more than enough to disengage that safety. So I don't ever worry about it. Even on a sloppy draw, I'm still disengaging that grip safety. So that's a moot point for me. It's not something that I really consider a negative on this guns. So the thumb safety. So some people do find that it's a little bit more challenging to disengage it on the draw. I'm at the point now where it's not even an issue for me anymore. So it's just something that naturally occurs as part of my muscle memory. I actually find myself doing that with my striker fire guns. So it's not something that requires any bandwidth of me anymore. At the beginning it did. You find yourself having to think about that thumb safety. I'm at the point now where that's not even a conscious thought anymore. So now we're gonna go over to a quick tabletop overview. All right guys, so here's a quick little tabletop overview on a Staccato C2. Now this firearm was purchased brand new by me. I paid full retail price for this. It was Staccato C2 with the threaded barrel. The reason I bought that is because I knew I wanted to compensate it or run it suppressed eventually. Now the threat cadre comp, I have one caveat to say about it, and that's that it will not run 147s reliably on this gun. Now I don't have another C2 to test it on. I just cannot run MagTech, SMB, Federal, anything. I can't run 147s reliably through this gun with the comp on. If I take the comp off, it'll run just fine. So I'm attributing that issue to the comp. Now, it'll run 115 perfectly fine. It'll run my critical defense duty perfectly fine. So it's not a big deal breaker for me. Yes, I wish it would run everything reliably, but it just doesn't do 147 well. Now the Surefire X300 Turbo is wrapped in a Ranger wrap. The one thing I will say about the Ranger wrap is that if you have a friction holster and that's all you carry in, you're gonna have difficulty reholstering it and unholstering with the wrap on. Aesthetically, it's pleasing. I like the way it looks. This usually runs in my Safari Land outside the waistband holster, so I don't have a big issue with it. But if you do decide to EDC carry this, just be aware of that, and they say it on the website. Now the red dirt trigger is by far the cherry on top for this gun. I like flat face triggers. I like the short reset of the red dirt trigger, and we'll go ahead and ghost it right now. And just so we're all sure, it's gonna save. Nothing in there. Maybe you guys can tell there's just that slight little take up. Then the shot breaks. Again. Now the reset. Guys, that's the reason why you buy these guns. That trigger, that's the sole reason you would buy this gun. Now moving along, the Acro P2. I ended up buying this on sale. That's the reason I bought it. Other than that, there's no real reason why I bought the Acro P2. I found a good deal on it, and that's why I picked it up. I have it mounted on a CNH precision plate. The reason I bought that plate, it supposedly sits lower than the Dawson precision plate. And I've seen no inherent difference. I don't have the Dawson precision plate for the Acro P2, so I can't really tell you if that's the case or not. But moving on to the P2, I do find that it's easier to acquire the sights in the rain. Not that it's the biggest reason why I bought it, but I do find that it's easier to run this in the rain. That's why I have it, since I primarily run this gun on my Safari Land outside the waistband holster. But guys, I think that's pretty much it on this gun. If you guys have any questions, any comments you guys would like to leave, please leave so. Please leave a like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. If you stayed out to the end, you're a real one. I appreciate you. Thank you. It takes time for me to make this video. It's just all this just a hobby for me right now, trying to give information to people. I don't intend this to be a full-time job ever, but I like to bring awareness to people that are looking at these guns and trying to figure out, should you buy this gun at this price point? And as I stated, yes, these guns are phenomenal, but they're not gonna make you a better shooter if you don't already have the training. So in closing, guys, become proficient, be responsible armed citizens, and I'll see you guys out on the range.